Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier Twitch stream in quite some time, but we've got two pretty big pre-order dates, so I figured it would make sense that if a lot of us are going to have to wake up this early, I might as well live stream and order these things with you. So we've got two main Apple products going live today in just about 13 minutes for me. Yeah, it says 4:47 a.m. on the Pacific Coast. Pretty early, but that's okay because there's only one time you get to pre-order your first AirTag. That only happens once in life. So I've got the iPad ready, and it says I'm early, but I hope you guys are ready. I want to know what time it is for you guys. Oh, Katrina Bryce says good afternoon. Nearly lunchtime for me. Zelfir says it's 8 p.m. here for me. Wow, it's way later in the day for you guys, but I'm in the same time zone as Apple, and this is when they decided to go live. So yeah, we'll be refreshing. I've already favorited the AirTag. The two products going live on the store today are, of course, AirTags and the purple iPhone 12. I hate to break this to you. I thought about it. I looked at a few videos unboxing the new purple iPhone 12. I think I'm good. The AirTag seems really interesting, and I want to try out the AirTag myself to, see how it works and give you my in-person opinions on it, not just because it's the first of its kind, really. Apple hasn't really made a product like this before, and it shares a lot of differences with traditional Apple accessories. Normally with something with a speaker and a chip and something you can connect to the iPhone, it's pretty rare to see something that cheap that goes for $30. Apple's never really made they've never really made a geo-track device like this before. So I'm not completely sold that I need to keep one, but I definitely want to try one out just to see how it could integrate into my life, and maybe if I can come up with a reason to keep it. I can't think of one right now just because I never lose my keys. So either way, I just want to see how it works and give you my impressions on it. So yeah, I'm definitely pre-ordering an AirTag. Won't be getting a purple iPhone. I don't think people are asking me if I'm getting a pack of 4. I don't think I need 4. I can barely think of a use case for one for me personally. So I'm probably just going to get the one. I don't really see the point because I think there's a high likelihood of me returning this thing anyway. So if I see myself returning one, I don't really see the point in returning all 4. But yeah, if you guys want the purple iPhone, that will be available in just 10 minutes. So we're 10 minutes away. I was also happy this morning to wake up and find out that we had a successful launch of the relaunch of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket carrying 4 astronauts to the space station. I was hoping it would work out. That had never been attempted before, but not exactly Apple related. But it's kind of a big day for the space industry. That's never happened. I've never rode astronauts on a reused first stage booster like that, which is cool. So I'm glad to see it worked out, and the SpaceX rocket landed on the drone ship as well. Yeah, sorry for the frame drops. That's just Starlink sometimes. Bart123099, thanks for the Twitch Prime. Anish said, how did you figure out the battery thing? The battery thing? What do you mean by that? Uh-oh. Sorry for the frame drops. Maybe Starlink's not used to me streaming this early. I guess you can get one to put in your Sonata so you will know where your car is. That's the thing. Our car doesn't move very much. Our car is in a very safe place. We're not really in a area where cars get stolen or any type of thing. And if it did get stolen, the AirTag would most likely notify whoever stole the car based on the videos I've seen, which was a bit more interesting than I thought it was going to be. So basically, Apple made the decision for AirTags to track items, not people, and that does involve criminals. So if you put it wouldn't fit in my wallet. I have a minimal Ridge wallet. There's nowhere for an AirTag to fit on it. And I've also never lost my wallet. I can't tell you a single time I've ever lost my wallet in the past ever. I legitimately, I've never remember a time in the past being like, oh, I misplaced my wallet. Where did it go? But still, from what I've seen, if an AirTag is away from its owner for a long period of time and it's nearby another iPhone or it's nearby another Apple registered device, after a while it will let you know that you're carrying around someone else's AirTag. So if someone did actually steal my car and they had an iPhone, maybe it'd be different if the thief had an Android, but if they had an iPhone, they would get notified that they're carrying around my AirTag, and then they could probably just find it and get rid of it. So it's not like it would help me actually track down the car. Um, but the reason Apple made that decision to notify if someone is going off with someone else's AirTag is because, once again, they didn't want it to be a human tracker of any kind, good or bad human, because they know that if they did allow you to do that, there's the potential that you could go up to someone that you want to stalk or that you want to track down. And if they're looking away for a second, you could drop an AirTag in their bag, or pop an AirTag on someone when they're not looking, and you could track them down, which is why Apple kind of made that call and said, no, even if they're not the owner, and even if they don't know that they have your AirTag, we're going to notify them. So um, you'll put it in lost mode and it will not notify him. It's not what I was seeing. Why wouldn't I put it in lost mode? I don't know. Thank you for the bits, Matt Apple. You want me to sing a song? It's too early for this, Matt. Come on. 4:53 in the morning, you want me to sing a song? That's not how I saw it work. I saw several unboxing and impressions videos from the early access people. Your average consumer, and Marquez did one. And from what I saw, basically, if an AirTag leaves its owner and is following around someone else, it will notify them, hey, you are carrying around someone else's AirTag. Yeah, it will notify them regardless of the mode. The AirTags is actually good to put on a pet collar. A lot of people are suggesting that, but I've also seen Apple on the record state several times that that's not what it's for. Um, I talked to it about Randy on the podcast. I was like, hey, me and Nick don't have pets, but could you see yourself getting AirTags for your pet? And he said his dog's already chipped. So a lot of people already have that kind of stuff integrated into their dogs. But yeah, I guess this is probably much, much cheaper than getting your dog chipped, I imagine. Um, won't it cause any trouble on throwing a battery in checked baggage? No, I think it's small enough that it won't matter. I always forget how my luggage looks, so whenever I can travel, travel again, I'll buy one. Yeah, that's probably a decent use case. I don't know how big a difference it makes because I've actually never lost my luggage traveling before. Obviously, I have not traveled via plane in a long time, since pre-pandemic. It's been like a year and a half since the last time I went on a fly. Uh, a fly. It's just me writing a little bug. A flight is what I meant. Um, so it's definitely been a while. But if you did lose your bag, I don't know if having an AirTag on it would make a huge difference, because if they left it on some other plane or they left it way back behind the airport somewhere, it's not like they let you back there, right? It's not like if they put it on the wrong plane and it went to a different destination, you'd be able to just really quickly buy a new plane ticket and fly over to that destination and say, hey, I noticed my AirTag is in this airport. Can I go get it? Like, I don't think it works that way. I'm pretty sure the airport still has to find you. Um, Apple only uses the term items for liability, but you could use it with dogs. From on a technical level, sure. There were some people saying they wanted to use it with their cat, but I don't know. It looked a little too heavy, a little too bulky to put on a cat, in my opinion. Maybe bigger dogs would be okay, because it is kind of thicker than than most objects people have on collars. Most collars aren't that big. Drew, are you getting the AirTags accessories too? Mm, I don't know. I'm mainly just getting this for the review purposes, just because it's a new product category that Apple's never done before. It's not every day we get those. Most of the time we get Apple products, it's an update. It's a new version of AirPods, new version of the iPad Pro, new keyboard case. It's always iterations on what they kind of already sell, and it's most of the time iterations on what we already have, whether it be ugly iMacs and updated MacBooks. But this is the first time Apple's made a geo-tracking device that, in my opinion, was way more affordable than I was expecting. I legitimately did not think Apple would sell this for $29. There were people suggesting that in the chat and stuff, and I was just like, there's no way. Apple will definitely not sell a new U1 chip enabled tag for that cheap. This is Apple we're talking about. But they did it. And you can get some Belkin keychains for like $12, $13, which probably cost 2 pennies to make, because keychains are the most like one of the most mass-produced like third-party objects in the world. So it's very, very easy to make those cheap. So it's weird to see Apple selling leather loops that cost more than the tag itself, especially with the Hermes edition, the $400, $500 keyboard, not keyboard, keychain accessory for a $30 AirTag, which is hilarious. Oh man, I know it's Apple trying to retain their luxury status thing, but I'm gonna hate. I'm gonna hate on it, and I'm gonna laugh at it every time I see it, because it still just makes me laugh so much. Thomas Grant says, I hate that Apple does a one-to-one pricing from dollars to Great British pounds, which makes it more expensive than something is actually worth. Well, you don't. Worth is subjective. It's worth is what you're willing to pay for it. But doesn't doesn't England have to require the sales tax included? In the U.S., I think that's a big difference. Is that in the United States you don't have to demonstrate, you don't have to show the price with sales tax. So even though it says $29 here, it ends up costing more like 35, 37. Whereas in England, I believe they have to. Yeah, there we go. Katrina's backing me up here. He says British prices include VAT. U.S. prices don't include sales tax. So that's probably why overseas a lot of the time Apple products seem more expensive. Yeah, EU always require VAT included. Gotcha. Haha. We figured it out. How much longer? Oh, it's 1 minute away. Holy crap. This is going quick. Europe, we get the final price. So, guys, I actually I saw some really bad news this morning that has me genuinely upset. I'm going to start refreshing the Apple Store app now. I'm just opening it and closing it with my favorite Apple product, the iPad Pro. But it's related to the iPad Pro. There was a 9 to 5 Mac article this morning. I really didn't want this to be the case, but there was a 9 to 5 Mac article this morning that said that the new M1 Mini LED iPad Pro does not work with the old Magic Keyboard case. It does not work with this one because it's too thick, which means if you want to get the M1 iPad Pro with Mini LED, oh, the store is up. Purple iPhone available. Okay, let's go. For you section. Free engraving. Okay, here we go. Ooh, it's available on launch day for me. Good, good. Do I want to get a keyring? I think I will. I'll get a Belkin one. I don't want to commit too much. All right. Yeah, estimated tax. What is it? About $3.46. Delivers April 30th, 1 week from today. That's good. Let me make sure it's on the right card here. All right, I think that's good. I'm not going to show you this because there's some private info on it. Confirm with top button. Paying with Apple Pay. It's processing. It's loading. Here we go. I mean, they were right on the money. 5 a.m. Thank you. We're sending your order confirmation. All right, we got it. My first AirTag. My first geo-tracking device from Apple. We did it. No, I'm not buying the $35 leather keyring. All right, it's been ordered. So this is probably the cheapest combination I could imagine getting. That was, how much was that? $43? I should have known. I was looking right at the thing. iPad Pro Magic Keyboard can work with the previous version, and that's from Apple Employee. That's not what 9 to 5 Mac is saying, which is concerning me. People are saying the UK store is still down. Oh, weird. I wonder why it's not. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. I was actually kind of surprised that for me it was updated right at 5 a.m. In the past, when we do these early morning pre-orders, usually it takes 2 to 3 minutes for the store to go up. Um, Not buying one now, but might buy one later in the year. Okay, fair enough. All right, let me see if it shows up in my. I want it to show up in my order page. Order has been placed. I did not get it engraved. I don't know if that affects your. Let's see what the total was. $45.41. So I was expecting the AirTag itself to cost like $50. So the fact that I can get a keychain included with it from Belkin and the AirTag with sales tax under $50, I was actually pretty impressed by. I know that they probably make a butt ton of money off of these accessories that they sell alongside the AirTag, but regardless, the price being so much lower than I was expecting was a decent surprise for me. I'll be happily proven wrong anytime a product is much cheaper than I originally anticipated. Um, and it's nice that it's water resistant and stuff, so you don't have to worry about it dying when it falls in. Um, Simply Pop's got it. Nice to hear. Getting one as a gift for a family member who's always losing keys. Good idea. I'll probably throw this on my keys just to see if it adds a lot of weight and bulk to it, and try it out for a week or so and see if it impedes on my key utilization process too much. I'm not gonna get the purple iPhone 12, but I'm curious if they updated the store at all here. Let me see. Let me go to the iPad section because I want to get to the bottom of this. I want to look at iPad keyboards because 9 to 5 Mac is quoting some Apple store saying that this new 12.9-inch mini LED iPad Pro needs a different type of keyboard case, which has me honestly very disappointed because that was like the one thing that I was like, okay, as long as it works with the old one. Okay, see, this is confusing. Okay, now I'm more lost. This is the mini LED iPad Pro is the 5th generation, right? That's because that's what I'm looking at right here. I'm looking at the Apple Store app. I'm looking at the Magic Keyboard. It says new, but I'm pretty sure that's just because there's the white option. I don't know if that's different for. Did they make a new keyboard case that works with? Did they make a new keyboard case that? Oh no. Okay. See, this is okay. This is what scares me. They've basically made a new $350 keyboard case that works with the old iPad Pro. So you could buy the 12 point you could buy this updated keyboard they just launched. Sorry, I bumped the mic. They said on the event that it works with the old one too. I'm not so sure anymore cuz look, this I'm so confused. This Magic Keyboard page says Magic Keyboard for iPad Pro 12.9-inch 5th generation. So when you go to the selector, it only says 5th generation. It doesn't say works with 5th, 4th, and 3rd, but I guess the 11-inch iPad Pro keyboard case, which is not new, only says, well, it says 11-inch iPad Pro or iPad Air 4th generation, because I guess it's compatible with every 11-inch iPad Pro. There's not a single version of the 11-inch iPad Pro that won't work with this case. But this says iPad Pro 12.9-inch 5th generation, and that's it. There's only one. Its compatibility list is iPad 3, 4, and 5. Yes, I'm saying that's a new keyboard. I know you guys aren't hearing me. I'm saying the new keyboard that's on the website has killed off this one. The one we have now, this is different from the one they're selling on the website. This one on the Apple Store app now is compatible with the old ones, but this old keyboard case is not compatible with the 5th gen. That's a different one. I know under compatibility, it goes back to the older iPads, but this is a different keyboard case. They had to tinker it to accommodate fifth, fourth, and third, but they have not tinkered this one to support the fifth gen. The one we have now, the one we bought a year ago, this is discontinued. This version of the Magic Keyboard is gone. So that's the way I'm interpreting this. Otherwise, they would have just said, fifth, fourth, and third generation here, but it just says fifth generation. I'm saying, yeah, they basically came out with a new smart keyboard so that it would work with the new iPad Pro. Isn't the only difference the backlight? The difference is the thickness. That's the main reason. From the 9 to 5 Mac article I'm looking at, from what they understood, is that this is really bumming me out, because this means that if I want to upgrade my iPad Pro, I have to replace this whole thing, and I have to buy a $350 keyboard on top of an $1,100 iPad. Ugh. I really wanted to get the XDR iPad Pro, but now it's just going to cost a lot more than I thought. And I'm going to have another keyboard here that I'm probably going to have to sell, which I doubt I'll get, anywhere near retail. Ugh, that really bums me out. That's really frustrating. I'm so curious though. Like I want to just get the 5th generation iPad Pro and try to dock it to this iPad and dock it to this old Magic Keyboard and see what happens. Like I would love to just try it, but from what I'm hearing, that it's thicker than the old generation. They had to make it thicker for the mini LED display, and because it's thicker, it doesn't fit in the old keyboard case as well. Boy, that's a real bummer. That's the worst news of today so far. They do sell for a decent amount, the keyboards. How much do they go for these days? Sell the old iPad and keyboard together as a bundle? I know, but it's probably not going to be close to retail. Is it heavy as well? Well, I haven't held the new iPad Pro, but I assume because it's thicker and has a mini LED display that it's probably thicker than the old one. I could go to the compare page here. I'll look. 5th generation 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I'll compare it to mine, which is the 3rd generation 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I'll scroll down to the weight. It's probably down here somewhere. Okay, the new 5th generation iPad Pro is 1.5 pounds, and my generation was 1.39. So it's like a 1/10 of a pound heavier. It's a 1/4 of an inch thick, whereas mine is 0.23 inches thick, whereas the new iPad Pro is 0.25, so it's ever so slightly thicker. I didn't think that would make that big a difference, but I guess it was enough to make it not compatible with the old keyboard cases, which is a huge bummer. And something I feel like Apple did not explain very well. I feel like there's probably a lot of people that didn't know this. And that really bums me out. Dang it. Man, I hope they're wrong. Are you getting AirTags and iPad Pro? So iPad Pro is not available today. Basically what went live this morning, 10 minutes ago on the Apple Store, was AirTags and the purple iPhone 12. I've seen a few people unbox the purple iPhone 12. I think I'm good. I don't plan on doing a video with the purple iPhone, but the AirTags seem really, really interesting, and I'm excited to try them out myself. So I did order an AirTag pretty quickly. I'm curious. We can keep watching the Apple Store to see if ship dates start slipping at all. We're 11 minutes in, so I don't expect much to change, but yeah, from what I can see, at least in my region, it'll vary depending on where you guys live. But for me, AirTags are still available on launch day, 11 minutes. If I go 4-pack here, yeah, they're both still available on launch day, which is April 30th. So I'll get my AirTag a week from today. But also a week from today is when everything else is available to pre-order. So both the mini LED iPad Pro and even the 11-inch iPad Pro, the updated Apple TV with the A12 chip and the new Siri remote, and the new iMacs are all going to be available to pre-order a week from today on April 30th at around 5 a.m. So I just ordered one AirTag because honestly, I can barely think of a use case for a single AirTag, and I'm more than likely going to return this one. So I'm probably not going to keep it. even though it's very cheap, I don't lose things very often. But for the sake of the channel and the sake of trying out Apple's latest and greatest, they don't release stuff like this all the time. So I'll get one just so I can give you guys my opinions. But I didn't need to get four or whatever to tell you my opinions on them. So I'm just gonna try it for my keys, and probably that's it. Um, but yeah, I do plan on ordering all three of those things next week. So I'll be getting a new iMac. I'm not keeping it for sure. I can confidently tell you I'm not keeping the new iMac, but I do want to use it in person. I do want to see it in person so people can stop saying, Drew, you got to give it a chance. Wait till you see it in person. It'll look much better in person. I don't believe it'll look better in person. I think it'll look worse in person because you'll actually see it in a naturally lit scenario with the display off. But just because this is the first iMac redesign we've had in over a decade, I I at least want to give it a full review. I'm not falling in love with the color. I've been staring at the new iMac quite a bit, and I legitimately did try to convince myself the design was good. After the event took place, and I had filmed my video, and the video was exporting, I just kept looking at it, and I kept staring at it, and I was like, okay, I have an open mind. Think about what the purpose of this market serves. Think about the market of this iMac. Try to look at it. Try to understand why it looks this way. And the more I thought about it, the less I liked it. And the more I stared at it, the more and more and more I hated it. It did not grow on me like it did for others, and I genuinely wish it would have. There were other people out there saying like, I hated it at first, but then it started to grow on me. Now I kind of like it, and I was like, I want this to happen to me. I want that moment of, oh, okay, now I actually kind of get it. Now I kind of like it, but it kept getting worse. It was the opposite of growing on me. It was growing off me. The more I looked at it, the more I despised it. But there's a lot of Apple products I don't like that I ended up getting. And after I got them, I was able to kind of more accurately articulate why I hated them. So I probably have a similar experience with the 24-inch iMac. I will get one, but I will be returning it. I won't keep it. I'm definitely planning on getting a mini LED iPad Pro. But although now I'm very, very bummed out to find out that my current keyboard case will not work with the new iPad Pro. Oh gosh, it's such a nightmare. That was like the most exciting part of the event for me. I was so pumped to get the new iPad. Now to find out, that changes things. That means basically the iPad is like $400 because the $350 keyboard case does not include sales tax. Once you factor in sales tax on that thing, let me do the math here real quick. Thanks to the calculator on my iPad Pro. 350 times where I am, it's like 725. That's 300, and that basically means the iPad Pro I want to get is $375 more expensive than I thought. And once we apply sales tax to just the base model, which is $1,100, I'm going to say 1.0725. That's how I calculate the sales tax. It's $1,180. Okay, $1,180 plus $375. Basically, the cheapest possible way to upgrade my iPad Pro to the mini LED version is going to cost me $1,555. That's for the 128 gig model. That's no cellular. That's just the base cheapest iPad Pro I can possibly get. And I have to get the new keyboard. That's terrible. If I trade in my old iPad, they'll give me $500. Even if I give my iPad to Apple, it's a $1,000 upgrade. Ugh. You need to get the 1 terabyte model for 16 gigs of RAM. I know you have to, but I don't think RAM matters too much on the iPad, to be honest with you. Matt Apple says, what do you mean it does not work? That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. The keyboard case they sell on the website right now is a different one from the one they've been selling for the last year. The new 12.9-inch iPad Pro keyboard case, the new one they've designed works with the old iPads, but the old keyboard case that they sold a year ago does not work with the 5th generation iPad Pro. That's what 9to5Mac is telling us. and the basically, if you want the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro, you're going to have to shell out for another keyboard case, which is very frustrating. But thank you for the bits. True Big Dog says, got my AirTags 4-pack. I misplace things a lot. Your Twitch notification reminded me. Thank you. Have to compare it to my tiles. Maybe you should get a tile and compare them. I've used a tile tracker before. I kind of get the gist of how they work. I don't think there's probably going to be a million people comparing them, but I'm pretty impressed with AirTags. I think I'll probably do a video on them later today. I do think they're probably going to be a big hit, mainly just because of how much more affordable they are than I was expecting. And even with the cheap Belkin keychains, I could see a ton of people buying these things simply over tile trackers, simply because of how simple and easy they are to integrate. The fact that there's very little setup, you just kind of take them out of the box, and as soon as you pull the plastic off them and they turn on, they have that little speaker, and it's very intuitive the way you interact with them and can track them down in the way they don't track people but do track items, and you can get notified of them. They'll even activate the NFC reader on Android phones, which is really cool. So I must say that I didn't think AirTags were going to be that cool. I thought they were just going to be some overpriced, expensive geo-tracking accessory, but Apple actually did something pretty neat that I wasn't anticipating. So that's why I was curious to pre-order one, and I'm glad I have. I'm going to check my Apple Store page again to see if ship dates have slipped. For me, they have not slipped at all. It still says delivers this Friday. If I pick the 4-pack, it still says deliver this Friday. So 20 minutes in, no ship date slipping. But I bet a bunch of people are going to get these things. And they're going to expand across the Find My network pretty extensively. Let's see. But actually, the iPad Air is thicker. Yeah, it is a bit thicker. Matt Apple says sell on eBay maybe. I typically don't like selling things online just because I've heard so many horror stories of packages going missing and shipping information. And Sam from iUpdate tells me all these issues he's had with selling things online constantly. So I'm hesitant to sell stuff. I sell stuff locally. I usually like selling stuff to people I know in my personal life that are looking to upgrade their iPads and that kind of thing, or iPhones. People I know in my personal life, I can usually set them up with some of my older tech. And that way I don't have to worry about shipping costs and the carrier losing stuff. iOS at work says my ship day slipped at 13 minutes in. That's weird. So you must be in a place where they're more popular or more people are ordering them because, yeah. Oh, they just slipped. Wow. Okay. Just as I spoke too soon. So the 1-pack of AirTags now says order today, delivers May 3rd. So that's a couple days back, May 3rd to May 5th. So not quite a week back, but it is starting to slip into May. If I choose the 4-pack, it's still available at launch. But if I pick it up at my local Apple store, it's still available on launch day. Matt Apple says MacBook Air UPS situation. No, that was just a PayPal scam. I wouldn't fall for that one again. But I was careless back then. I didn't pay attention to much. I was just like, oh, cool, got the email. All right, let's ship it off. Now I know how to spot a scam pretty quickly. But what I have seen lots of people run into is carriers misplacing packages and not really telling you where they go or that kind of thing. So that's what I'm more worried about. Or the engraved ones are slipping faster. Well, yeah, the engraved ones I believe are custom made. I don't think they like stockpile a bunch of engraved ones. From what I understand, when you order an engraved one, they have to like remake that one specifically. Let me make an engraved option. I'll just put a bunny AirTag with a bunny. Oh yeah, wow. When I when I get an AirTag with an engraving, it says order today, delivers May 11th, May 14th for $8, and then May 12th to May 17th for free. That's interesting that the paid option could technically take longer than the free option. The way they're listing it in the Apple Store app. I just got a Belkin keychain. The cheapest possible one I could get. I was just like, what's the bare minimum I can put down to review an AirTag? And I guess you could technically not even get the keychain, and you could just get the AirTag itself and then just hold it and throw it in your bag or something. But I don't really have a bag that I take around with me. I was like, I have keys. I'll just put it on my keys, see how small it can get. These things are definitely selling like hotcakes. Maybe they could be. I mean, it's possible that they're also just not in that large a supply because of the chip shortage that is impacting everyone right now. But um, yeah, about 20 minutes in, I'm seeing ship date slip for me. Not for the 4-pack though. But yeah, when you get an engraving, it definitely pushes it back to mid-May. Um, Over here, the Belkin keychain is already back to May 20th. Really? I haven't thought of looking at that. Let me look at AirTags accessories. Let me try the Belkin one. $12.95. It's about $13. My Belkin keychain is coming before my AirTag. Really? That happens pretty often though, with like iPhone cases and iPad cases that come out. They typically ship before the new devices do. For me, yeah, it says if I order the Belkin keychain now, it says May 3rd to May 5th. So it has been pushed back, but I can pick it up at my local Apple store on launch day, which is nice. AirTag 4-pack. That name's taken, sub with Twitch Prime for 28 months. Wow, that's commitment. Thank you very much. Question: if a third-party device enrolls in the Find My network, does that mean it can use the feature where it pings nearby iPhones to find its location? Yes, that's what the Find My network is. It's an encrypted way of pinging other Apple devices, not just iPhones. It could technically ping Apple Watches or iPads or MacBooks, anything that has an internet connection and it has a registered Apple ID attached to it. AirTags can ping other AirTags. AirTags can ping iPhones. They can all communicate together. And Apple has even now announced that later in the spring, there's going to be devices that incorporate U1 chip compatibility. So that this new animation we've been seeing where you can get a compass like direction, like an arrow that points you in the direct area the AirTag is. And it's like, oh, go this way. You're 10 feet away. You're 5 feet away. You're 0.2 feet away. And then it eventually just says here. You'll be able to get that functionality on third-party hardware. So that is not going to be an exclusive AirTag feature. That's going to be something everybody is going to be able to utilize if they want to. I'm sure they're going to have to pay Apple for that service to say Find My compatible. Apple probably is going to get a piece of that revenue. But they're okay with that because, you know, they want that services revenue. But I do think AirTags probably have a decent chance of becoming the most common geo-tracking device, probably outselling Tile. I kind of get why Tile is afraid, but at the same time, I'm like, you know, you can't just make a product and assume that no one can possibly recreate it and make it better than you. That's probably unrealistic. Like, Tile's not going to be able to make a Find My style network that's going to be as expansive as Apple's. So if Apple has the potential or has the capability of making a geo-tracking, you know, service with tags and stuff that can be better and more reliable than Tiles and easier to set up and easier to you know, change batteries and buy a bunch of them in bulk, it sounds like it'd be a much better product for the consumer. So are we supposed to just not allow a better product for the consumer because then Tile doesn't have a purpose in life? No, that's kind of the purpose of, you know, having a free market is businesses compete with each other and they try to come up with better products and better services than one another. Anyway, I agree with you. The new iMac is ugly. Thank you, Darkoff. It split a lot of people down the middle, but I've seen a lot of people disagree and a lot of people agree. That's for sure. Either way, I'll get one to review and immediately send it back. Definitely not keeping it, but will you keep them because they're anyway $30? To me, it doesn't matter how much it costs. It's just, can I utilize this? If an accessory or a product serves no purpose in my life and I will never take advantage of it, I won't keep it. So if I, you know, for me right now, the main reason I'm ordering one is just basically so I can cover the content of it. And if I cover I cover the product and I review it and I make videos about it and then that's it. And now it serves no purpose. Then yeah, I'd rather have my $45 back. I don't mind the looks. I prefer the iPad Pro aesthetic, but it doesn't bother me. My mom would love the pink one. Yeah, I feel like we've been looking at iMacs with chins for well over a decade now. And the white bezel thing, I consider a step backwards. I thought that we had kind of gotten past the white bezel argument, and now people seem to all like white bezels again. I'm not sure why. I don't think I'm going to like the iMac if I get it. People say this every time I complain about an Apple product. Typically, I know a lot of people like to think the opposite is going to happen, but typically anytime I see an Apple product unveiled and I don't like it, or I think it's expensive, or I think it's unnecessary, when I actually get it, my opinion rarely changes. I hate to break it to you, but very, very rarely do I get an Apple product that I thought I was going to hate and then I end up loving it. Um, if anything, there's oftentimes Apple products that I think I'm going to love, and then I get them and I end up hating them. It goes the other way sometimes, um, but rarely does it go the other way. I can't recall a time that happened. There's been several times where I was like, I thought this was going to be good, but it's actually not that good. Or I thought this was going to be a big difference, but it's actually not that big a difference. Um, I don't recall complaining about the Magic Keyboard. I was pretty defensive of that as soon as it came out, saying that this is cool and this is a 2-in-1, and I love the redesigned version of iPad OS. I don't recall, I mean, before it came out, because I didn't want Apple to just slap a mouse on the iPad like it is on Mac OS or like it is on the Surface. But once they updated iPad OS to have the bubble approach instead of the point, and how it interacts with iPad OS, once I saw the software additions and all that, that's when I was like, oh, this is actually a redesigned take on the cursor. So when the keyboard case came out, I was the one person saying it was going to be $300. I remember everybody was telling me it was going to be $200, and I was like, no, it's going to cost more. But I remember loving the fact that I could charge it from the side. I did a whole video on it the morning they dropped it, and I was like, the fact that I can get an additional I/O and I can charge it from this side or this side instantly makes it worth it to me, even though before that I didn't have a keyboard case for my iPad. I just used the virtual keyboard for everything. And the floating design I loved. So all I'm trying to say is there's never been a time where from unveiling I've hated something, and then when it gets delivered, I love it. Like that doesn't happen, despite a lot of people making that joke. You wait, once you get it, you're going to say you love it, and once you get it, you're going to say it's awesome. It doesn't happen, but people like to think it happens for some reason. iPad Pro Player says, hey, can't someone slip an iPhone into someone's bag to maliciously track them in the Find My network and won't alert that person? I guess, but it's an iPhone, so it's a bit harder to slip that into someone's bag. Okay, Shazid Tech. Sorry I didn't shout out your Twitch Prime. I don't see it in my... Maybe something's wrong with Twitch, but on the activity feed it doesn't show up. I don't see it. But either way, everybody who Twitched Prime, including you, Shazid, thank you. Appreciate it. Tile does have a slim card finder product for wallets, but they will definitely have to drop prices now to compete with Apple. I think if you can't, my thought process is if you can't beat them, join them. I think Tile should opt in for the Find My network. I think this is a tech choice that everybody should opt in together with. And the fact that Apple is open to third parties developing accessories for the Find My network, that, Apple's going to get a piece of that, I understand, but I think it's better for everybody if all tech companies kind of just agree on a standard. Now Apple has one, and I think it's very intuitive and very simple and easy to understand. So yeah, I would argue that Tile should just opt into the Find My network and support the U1 chip and just try to make something that's more cost competitive than AirTags, or maybe comes with a keychain instead of having to buy that separately. And maybe they can make one thinner. They could make one, yeah, like you said, easier to slim it down and fit it into a wallet or something. Because AirTags, at least in my wallet case, would not fit very well. I'm sad too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not enjoying hating the iMac at all. I hate the aesthetics, but I also kind of hate the device in practice, to be honest with you. It's not one or the other. I was really thinking and hoping that the iMac could get better silicon than the M1 chip. The M1 chip is fast and great, but I just feel like this market that Apple keeps pitching the iMac as is this family computer. You know, it's like you use it for FaceTime and Zoom calls, and you watch movies on it. I don't think that's a market that really exists anymore. To me, that's kind of died off because of the existence of iPads and MacBooks. If you're talking about classes in schools, they're not going to be dropping $1,300 on all-in-one devices for computer labs. At least in none of the schools I've grown up with, that's been a thing. For one, schools don't like having wireless keyboard and mice because kids like to take the mice and run with them, and or you have to charge them. And kids in these days would much rather have, well, schools at least. My parents run a charter school. My whole family is teachers that work in the public, school districts, and they all would much rather buy laptops. The reason computer labs are being replaced with Chromebooks or iPads these days is because there's a lot of distance learning going on where the kid needs to be able to take the computer home with them or work on stuff on the go. They would much rather have a device that they can use in the classroom or take to a different room and or charge them up, and they're all one device. You have your keyboard and your trackpad and your screen all in one thing instead of having to separate, okay, here's your monitor, here's your keyboard, and we got to charge the keyboard, and then here's your mouse, and when the mouse battery dies we have to flip it over and charge it. I do not see a bunch of school systems buying into the all-in-one iMac thing anymore. That's, from what I've seen, all the school systems have converted over to laptops because they want kids to be able to move the computers around as they need to, and they want them to be cheap. And the iMac, relatively speaking, is one of the, it's not even really the cheapest desktops. I guess it's the cheapest all-in-one desktop, but desktop sales as a whole have been going down a lot in the past decade. And I just think that my last school had a few iMac and iMac Pros, and it was a public school. You might get one or two, but not like huge computer lab worth. Thank you for the bits, but I don't think they buy like computer labs full of them. I feel like they buy the cheapest possible iMac they can. They would still buy the 1080p iMac in most public school systems. Who designed now the products where Johnny is no longer there? I don't know. Tile is still widely used on Androids or any other that doesn't want to rely on iCloud. AirTag doesn't necessarily rely on iCloud though, because you can contact the owner of the AirTag on an Android. If you put the AirTag on the back, it'll open a link, which is kind of cool. Let's see. I bought one AirTag to put on the bike basket of my e-bike. Also, I was disappointed that Apple Card support for Canada wasn't announced at the last event, considering that Apple has obtained the trademark license for it from the Canadian government. Yeah, I'm sure they want the Apple Card in as many places as possible. There's no reason to keep it exclusive to the U.S., but I do know that launching credit cards in other countries is far more complicated than launching new products, because there's different banking laws in different countries, and there's all kinds of different transactional revenue they have to abide by in other nations. So it's not as simple as just, checking a box saying like, okay, ship the Apple Card to Canada now. I think it's mainly due to all kinds of laws they have to adjust with the Apple Card. So I can guarantee you, as soon as it is possible for them to launch it in other countries, they will. The whole Apple makes no money just on, issuing the card itself. They make money off of you using the Apple Card. They make money when you buy things with it. So the only incentive for Apple to roll out the Apple Card, there's all the incentive in the world for them to roll out the Apple Card to more countries. There's just laws in the ways. In my country, the credit cards are all terrible. I really want Apple Card here so I can actually use credit. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not just a coincidence that in other countries all credit cards are terrible. It's also because there's not a lot of credit card friendly laws there. So very likely the same laws that are preventing your country from having good credit cards are the same laws that are going to prevent the Apple Card from launching in your country, that will allow you to have the same cash back or a way for you to build credit. Basically, if you're in a place where credit cards aren't as good as the Apple Card, it's probably going to stay that way. I doubt the Apple Card is just going to come in and have totally different cash back rules, and they have different laws they have to abide by. You do need to attach the AirTag to an iCloud account to manage it. Yes, it is still definitely built around the Apple ecosystem, but um, I think it'd be a better idea for. I haven't messed around with the Galaxy Smart Tag, but it would definitely be smart for Tile or anybody on the Android side to develop something that's as intuitive and as simple to track down as the AirTags are, which Apple has this way of incorporating people into the ecosystem much better than any other third-party scan. So just the fact that Apple made a somewhat affordable tag with a U1 chip that you can pinpoint objects down to the inch basically. That's gonna make this, I think, a top seller. No, we had two computer labs with the 5K iMacs. Well, I don't know if it's it's probably very different in New York. I know you're in a big city, so they might have different, public school funding, but at least where I am, it's not that common of a thing. Um, have you messed around with the Shadow PC before? No. I know what it is, but I just have no interest or use for it. um, but at least where I grew up, it's not common for school systems to spend a bunch of money on all-in-one desktops, especially pricey ones like the new iMac. Purple iPhone 12 mini with golden bumper case going all in with that Thanos look. I'm curious if the ship dates for those have slipped. Let me try to see. I'll shop for the purple iPhone. Thanos phone is here. Finally! Purple phone. It's what I wanted all along. Okay. Yeah, it's very light. I know you guys might like it, but I'm not a huge fan of the very light colors. I prefer more saturated, I'm like, if you're going to be red, go all red. Wow, yeah, has not slipped at all. I'm looking at the base model iPhone 12 mini in purple, and it's still available on launch day, but maybe it's because no one likes the 12 mini. Let me try the 12. Nope. iPhone 12 still available on launch day in purple. Let me try a different storage configuration. Nope, makes no difference. Yeah, pretty much if anybody wants purple iPhone, 40 minutes later, still available on launch day. Has not changed for all storage configurations. That makes sense. I didn't imagine. This is very late. It's launching like end of April, and we're supposed to get new iPhones in September. We're like probably around 5 months away from the iPhone 12s or iPhone 13, and they're still launching new color options to get people to buy a new iPhone. Yeah, it's kind of a icky thing. I would not recommend people get it, I guess, unless you just really, really, really love purple. But yeah, if you're buying the purple iPhone, please hold on to that thing for many, many years because it's in 5 months it's gonna be old. It's gonna get dated kind of quick. They should have done a collab with Marvel for the purple iPhone. Yeah, I don't think they even need to. They probably make enough money off of just a purple one. My school uses old computers with Windows 7, so your schools are perfect. All the computers in the schools I was in were the cheapest possible trash OEM HP shovelware trying to use Flash browser menus that lagged hard. Yes! Okay, I think this is what most people see in the public school system. They do not get a bunch of all-in-one iMacs. There might be a few exceptions in more, heavily populated, dense cities that have, bigger schools or thousands and thousands of kids going to schools because those schools typically get more money. They get paid based on attendance, but most of the country is not, the big city schools. Most of the country is kind of more rural and more moderately populated, and those they get the cheapest possible computers they can, or they get laptops. That way they can lock them all up in a big box if they need to, or they can send them home with the kids when there's distance learning going on. So, and I don't see people doing the family computer thing anymore. Like if you're just using it to talk to people online, if you're just needing a computer to do Zoom meetings or watch TV, you would much rather buy a laptop that you can take with you into different rooms or to an office, or take it or take it to the bedroom if you want to watch TV in bed and stuff like that. Even my wife, who works from home, had to have a laptop issued to her from her business. They got like the cheapest possible Windows laptop, and they won't let her use anything else. Trust me, I tried. I was like, come on, honey, I can set you up with a Mac Mini. I can set you up with this. I can set you up with this. And they were like, nope, we have to issue the computer. We have to provided ourselves. You can't provide your own thing. It's like a security risk, I guess. But yeah, I do not see a bunch of schools spending thousands and thousands of dollars on desktop all-in-ones. I just don't see it. If you're watching the stream, redesign the redesign of the iMac. I know. I was for so many years. I remember way back in 2012 unboxing an iMac that I was like, yeah, this design would be cooler if they got rid of the chin and they got rid of the thick bezels on the side. And that was nearly 10 years ago that I unboxed that. So I was really, really hoping to get a more modern bezel-less look on the new iMacs when they came out. And somehow I didn't think it was possible. I really didn't. I genuinely did not think they could take it this far in the other direction to make me despise it this much. But to me, they genuinely downgraded the design. Like, it looks worse. Like, this morning I walked in my office and I looked at the iMac Pro and I was like, that looks better to me. Like, the logo being there gives it more of a face. If you're going to have a chin, I'm okay with not having a chin or not having a logo. But if you're going to have a chin, it looks so much more iconic and recognizable when you have the logo right there in center. That's the classic iMac look to me. It wasn't the chin that made it iconic Mac. It was the logo. And the black bezels blend in with the display when it's off much better. You just have this sheet of aluminum on the bottom and then this very clean sheet of glass that goes right to the edge. And with the new iMacs, you're going to have this big white bezel with the camera hole at the top and a big black rectangle in the center. So you have big black rectangle, white bezel with camera hole, and then the shade of metal beneath it. Ugh. Yeah, the Apple sticker on the chin. That's just going to make it look like a knockoff. Gotta put, let me fix it. I'll put the plastic sticker on the front. Could have been worse. Let me see this link. I had a hard time imagining it being worse. Oh, yeah, they could have put the chin on top. I don't know. That almost looks better to me, to be honest with you. Just because I can almost pretend that it's no chin. It's just upside down. I would argue that almost looks better. But yeah, it does look pretty stupid. Especially, I think what I like about this stupid concept you sent is that the webcam is not in the white bezel. So at least almost tricks me into thinking that there's a one-size bezel all the way around. Seeing that image makes me feel like, okay, I hate white bezels, but even if they did no chin but with white bezels, it would have looked a bit better in my opinion. If we just had a universal one-size bezel all the way around, obviously it would look way better if it was black. But even if they did that and it was white, I would hate it less. I would still hate it, but I would hate it quite a bit less. Look at it, but don't think you will like it eventually. I don't think you will like it eventually. No, I don't think I will either, just because of how much time I've designated to it. This is not like a first impression, like first glance, I hate it type thing. Like, I can get behind a weird design if I know why it looks that way. Like, I compare it a lot to the Cybertruck launch. Like, when the Cybertruck first came out, I didn't instantly hate it. I was just a little thrown off. I was just like, that's interesting. That's weird. And then the more I thought about it and the more functional I realized it was, that's when I started going, oh, okay, I get why they made it that way. That's actually makes a lot of sense. That's very practical. It's very durable. And it allows for them to make it cheaper, and you don't have to worry about the paint scratches, and it's super strong and rigid, way more durable than your average pickup truck. So there's a bunch of benefits to it looking that way that are functional that get passed on to the end consumer. So at first it was very odd, and it was very off-putting, but then once I thought more about it, I was like, actually, I kind of love it, because if a design serves a purpose for being weird, I will appreciate it. But the reason I hate the new iMac design so much is because I realize it's all the compromises they've made, making the external power supply, which is a step backwards in my opinion. Usually Apple would be the type of company to want to make the power supply internal. They would kind of pride themselves on not requiring an external power supply. And I really love just having that one simple wire going out the back of the iMac. It's very easy to plug in. Now you're going to have this big brick with 2 cables going out of that brick to plug into the iMac. And the I/O is objectively worse. They didn't replace the old ports with better ports. They just got rid of the old ports. With the MacBooks, at least, they got rid of the old ports, but they replaced them with better, more capable ports. With this one, they just dropped the old ports entirely, and it's a desktop. But I realized that every choice they made, every compromise they made with the big chin, with the bezels, with the external power supply, with the loss of I/O, all of those choices they made, all of those things they did was simply so that it could look thinner from the side, which serves no benefit. It was all just so that they could show the side angle being thin. And thinness in a desktop is so unimportant to me. Like, that's what frustrates me, seeing so many people say, like, well, who cares about the chin? You know, who cares about the white bezels? It's like, yeah, just get used to it. And I'm like, well, who cares about the thinness? Because that's where all these compromises are coming from. No one cared about the thinness of the desktop. They could have very easily put the whole computer behind the display and not had a chin and had much thinner bezels, but they intentionally did not do that because then they couldn't make it as thin. So basically, the whole design was about prioritizing something that no one sees or cares about. That's why I fundamentally don't like it. It's not about function over form. This is about form over function, and I don't even like the form. The form is bad. The form results in a big chin, and they just happen to choose ugly bezels. Even if you got black bezels, it would basically look like the old iMac to me. And I don't think that the upcoming iMac Pro or whatever is going to look drastically different. I've never seen that. I'm sure Apple focus grouped and found out that the form does matter. I would say that the chin, I think they would have a much more universally liked design if they just went with the iPad Pro on a stick. Based on, this is controversial at best. You know, I don't think it's good for marketing when you have lots of YouTubers. You got Snazzy Labs, you got Marquez, you even got me all saying, yeah, this looks weird, this looks ugly, instead of just going with a clean, simple one bezel all the way around, very thin. That's something we look at, prioritizing the beauty of the front of the device. I feel like you wouldn't have had this controversy. You wouldn't have a bunch of people saying, I hate it. I hate that the bezels are thin and there's no chin. I liked the chin. I don't think there was going to be a bunch of people defending it like that, personally. And I think I think it's turned off a bunch of people. I've seen lots of comments of people saying I was going to get this one, but now that I see it, I don't want it anymore. I know plenty of non-tech people that hate the design as well. I showed it around to family members and my wife. My wife despised it. I showed it to my dad, and my dad was like, why did they keep the chin? He was very confused by it as well. I think the non-tech people that say they like it are not people who are going to buy it anyway. The people that look at it, they're like, oh, that's a pretty color, but they're not people that I think are going to get it. People who weren't annoyed by the previous iMac's chin aren't going to be turned away from upgrading because it still has a chin, in my opinion. I don't think those people were going to buy one anyway. That's the people who weren't fazed by the old iMacs were probably not in the market for one. The people who were in the market for one were the people hoping for a redesign, you know, an updated look. And instead, all the attention went towards the side angle, which no one ever sees. But it's divided a lot of people, and I think it all could have been avoided. But anyway, we've been live for a while now. I appreciate the bits. I appreciate the Twitch Primes. I've said my piece on the iMac. You can rewatch it. You guys know how I feel about it. I don't think it's going away. Yeah, that's Robin like a boss is exactly how everybody I think is. Oh, hey, that's a pretty color. Oh, it's $1,300? No, never mind. Everyone would much rather buy a MacBook Air. The everyday average consumer would much rather have a laptop. I know so few people, the little average consumers we keep talking about, people who don't need a Mac for that much work, they would much rather have a laptop they can take with them. They don't want a desktop anymore. They want something that they can throw in a bag, take with them on trips. It's pretty, wow, that's pretty. How much is it? Ooh, 13. No. That's it. That's pretty much 99% of the interactions average consumers are going to have with that iMac. If they know they can get a MacBook Air with the same chip for $1,000 and it has a great battery life and you can take it with you, and the keyboard and it has Touch ID, if you want an all-in-one design, that's a far better deal in my opinion. Same number of ports too. You still have 2 USB-C ports. You can still get the same number of ports. You still have Touch ID. You still have the trackpad, and it's got a battery, and you can take it with you. And it's cheaper. For $300, you could probably get a pretty nice external monitor that you could dock to if you really care about having a big screen. And I bet you could very easily get a cheap, better-looking monitor than the iMac. Considering everyone is stuck at home, it makes more sense. Yeah, but they want to take stuff, even if you're just arguing that it's for home. I want to take it to bed. I want to take it to the kitchen. I want to take it to the living room. I want to show you this. Even if it's just for an at-home use, I still think most people would much rather have a laptop that's cheaper, that has the same I/O, that has the same processor. The MacBook Air, yeah, I would recommend that 1,000% over the iMac if you're just talking about a good computer for the home to put in my kitchen. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you have an excellent rest of your day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.